Hi, my name is Kayreen Kelly, and I'm here to talk to you today about the CSS gradient. The CSS gradient is a background where you want to have more than one color and you want a smooth transition between those colors. There are two types of gradients. There's the linear gradient, and that one goes down, up, left, right, or diagonally. And the other is the radial gradients, and of course, like it sounds, it's a circle or round. Your linear gradient is where you want to define two colors. Color stops are the colors that you want to render the smooth transitions on. So your color stops are the blue and the pink right here. And then the in between is your transition. You can also use angles to control the gradient that you want instead of directions, but the directions are much easier. Okay, so first I'm going to show you what we're going to do here. Your syntax background is the direction and the color stop. Your color stops, like I said, are the blue and the pink. The direction is which way you're going to go. To do, let me pull one of these up for you so you can see it. In our HTML, you can put these in other places. Where I was just doing this, I didn't need to have it anywhere else but just in the body. You can put it in the header. I actually had it in the header and I switched it out because I didn't need everything. So all you're going to do is you're going to do a div and an ID, and then you're going to put a gradient. Now, I did more than one gradient, so I have more than one number, and I just changed the numbers as I went through. And of course, you got to close it with your div tag. Let's switch back over because this is where all your work is actually in the CSS file. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a linear gradient. So we're going to start from the top and go to the bottom. And I'll just pull these up so you can see. Okay, so we're going to start with blue, go to pink. The next one is the same. We're starting with purple. We're going to go to a teal green and then to the black. Now I wanted to see if it was going to let me use more than just the colors, the names of the colors. And so I tried one of the numbers, and that's your teal green, and it did work. This has 4 colors in it. So you can have a lot of colors. You can have as many as you want. Let's see. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is now we're going to start doing definite directions. We want it to go from left to right. And so as we're doing this, pull these ones up. As we're doing this, if you notice in here where it says background, linear gradient to right, it specifies right here. Now up here, it does not specify that. So that's just going to go straight down. This is telling you that it wants you to go to the right. So you're going to have your colors going to the right. So we've got the blue going to pink, we've got purple, blue, and black, and then we've got our 4 colors. Let's see what happens if it'll let us go to the left. And it does. It lets us go to the left. We don't really need that extra space. I don't know why I did that. There we go. It'll let us go to the left. Now let's look at diagonal. One more. Okay. So diagonal is pretty much doing the same thing. It's going to start in one corner and go to the other corner. So this one tells you it's always starting up here in your left-hand corner, and it says you're going to go to the right. So bottom right, bottom right. Okay, and so same thing, your colors just flow through. Let's see if this one will let you go to the left, if it'll switch for us. And there you go, it switched it. This next one is it's a rainbow background with writing, and we need to go back to our HTML. This one is a little bit different. I'll highlight it. So on this one, actually in your div, you still do your gradient, and then you put in style, and then you've got to do what you want it to do. So you want text align center, margin auto, then you've got to have your color. This is your font color, and it's almost a black. I changed the color. It's a green, a really, really dark green. Okay, and then what you want to say, you just type it in. You don't have to put it in a paragraph or anything like that, and it'll go where you want it to, depending on where you set it up. Okay, and here's your CSS for that. And this just shows you, it just goes basically through your colors. Just very simple. Our next thing we're going to do is a linear gradient. Now this is a little bit different, and I get tongue-tied when I try to explain this one. The linear gradient, the colors are designed in 3 ways. So you have your color name like blue, red, pink, purple. You have a number, and that number identifies the colors, and that's where we get this teal green from as a number. And then we have, or teal blue, whichever way you want to say it. And then we have the RGB numbers. The RGB numbers consist of 3 numbers that are separated by commas. So this here is an RGB number. Now to do the transparency, we're going to use an RGB number, and we need to add a value to the end of that number. Now if we put a value of 0, then the transparency will be a full transparency, meaning there will be no color. This is your full transparency. If we give it a 1, you're going to have full color or no transparency. And this one's a 1. Let's see how it smooths through. So up here, here's our color, and right here we put a 0. And right here we put a 1. So let's see what happens if we switch those. So we'll give you a 1. So there's our 1. And now let's switch this one to 0. And that turns our transparency around. So you can see how that works a little bit easier. The next one that we're going to do is a repeating linear gradient. And these ones are kind of fun. I've really enjoyed doing this. This has been a lot of fun. I didn't think it would be as enjoyable. And on these ones, we're just going to do a horizontal line. And the lines are a little bit stronger on these. So this one's just a regular horizontal, and as you can see through here, it gives it a percentage, and these percentages help decide how much color is going to actually show. The next one is the same thing. They've got a percentage. This is a 45 degree, and if you look right here, it's got 45 degree, 90 degree, 190 degree, and 90 degree. So this just shows you some of the different things you can do with it. It also depends on the percentages in here too. The next one we're going to do is we're going to do a radial, which is your circles. And these are pretty evenly spaced colors right here. So this is very simple, just like our first lines up on the top. And just gives those. Now these can be switched because you don't have to leave this all the way across. You can change it. We can just change that. And there, so it's easy to switch. Okay, now this next one, this is a different space colors, and they wanted them different. And you can see in here they've got their percentages. So they want 5% black, 15% yellow, and 60% blue. The next one we have, your ellipse is your default for your radiant. And this will just show you. So if you look at this first one just says the radial gradient. The next one specifies that it's a circle. So this tells it that yes, we want it to be a circle. Okay, the next couple we're going to look at, or 4, I guess. This one you can use keywords. So if you look in here, they've used a keyword. They want the closest size at, and then it gives you 2 percentages. And this gives you your location of where your where your transitions are going to be. So this is the closest side. The farthest side, same thing. The farthest corner, same thing. And let's see, and then the closest corner and farthest corner. And the farthest corner is your default. So what happens if we were to change one of these? So you can change where it's at just by changing your numbers, your percentages. The last one we're going to look at is the repeating gradient. And this one is really colorful, kind of fun. And this one is the same thing. It gives you a radial gradient. It just keeps on repeating, doing the same thing over and over. And right here it tells you that they want to repeat it and that it's a radial gradient. But they also want a percentage of the transition or percentage of coloring. And so this is your percentage here. So this is your CSS gradients. If you have any questions, feel free to post them, and I will do my very best to answer them for you. And thank you so much for your time.